What's going on, guys? So I wanted to cover what happened in Berlin. There's been CV protests all across Europe, but particularly in Berlin, in Germany, it has been significant. And the media has done a couple of different things with it. They've put it in like the thousands, which is a gross underestimation of the number of people. I'll let you see and judge for yourself. And they're also saying it's not about CV, which it absolutely is. I'll show you some of those articles and I'll link them in the description. But first, let's watch what's going on here in Berlin. This is a CV protest. It's a protest against lockdowns, mandatory masks, etc.
Am 17. Juni 1953 haben die Menschen in der DDR sich erhoben.
That's one direction. You can see that there's the object in the distance.
Diktatur. Viele Menschen gehen auf die Straße.
If you look off to the right, you can see two trees, and in between those two trees, it goes off down in another roadway, all the way down that direction, filled with people as well.
Viele Menschen sind gestorben. Damals rollten Panzer, heute rollen keine Panzer mehr.
We'll hurry this along. Okay, and here's the other side here. All the way down the road, you can see there's a different object in the background. So they're doing a performance. You have these guys sitting down here. They're doing like a sit-in.
Nicht so viele. Es gab 1968 in Prager Frühling, da gab es ein ganz bewegendes Bild, das um die Welt gegangen ist. Da hat sich ein Mann vor einen Panzer der Roten Armee gestellt und die Armee ist stehen geblieben.
And the performance is going on in normal until you see the guy in the black right here and with the guy in the white, and he's pointing down the roadway to a bus that's in orange. It's an ambulance or official vehicle. You see it come all the way down this road through these people, and these are the cops, and they literally show up and they try to shut this down. So I'll let you guys watch see how that goes. Notice the only people you see with masks on are the cops.
Durchsage der Berliner Polizei. Die Durchsage richtet sich an alle Personen, die sich im Bereich des 17. Junis befinden und Teilnehmer der Veranstaltung Power sind. Die Versammlung hat zum einen die Auflage, dass ein Grund von Datenschutz zu tragen ist. Diese Auflage ist nachhaltig nicht strafbekommen. Darüber hinaus werden allgemeine Hygienevorschriften und Hygieneabstimmung nicht eingehalten und der Versammlungsleiter hat keine Möglichkeit, sich einzuwirken, dass diese Vorgaben und Abstände in der guten Datenschutz getan sind. Ich wiederhole, Ihre Versammlung ist hiermit aufgelöst. Begeben Sie sich nach Hause. Die Versammlung wird nicht stattfinden. Es ist jetzt 16:52 Uhr. Das war die erste Durchsage.
So they have to go and actually start removing people physically. This is what the scene looked like as they started carting people off, and I must say that the people in Berlin, they know how to protest. They're not making it easy on these cops. I sped this up a little bit so that we could watch it in quick speed. So in the rest of the world, they're starting to feel the same things that a large amount of us are feeling here in the States. And you're starting to see global protests about it. They're going to do what they can to downplay it, and they can, because they effectively downplayed the yellow vests in France for years. But as long as we in the truth community continue to push this stuff out and let people see that there are other people who are starting to think the same things that we think, then that message can get out. It's just on us to share it and explain it. And I don't speak German, but I'll link these videos in the description. The people who pointed me at this were actually there, and they told me exactly what it was for, exactly how many people. Well, they couldn't tell me exactly how many people, but they could tell me that it was hundreds of thousands, not like 10,000 people like they said. And there's more planned. So, yeah, that's that. CV protests in Berlin. And this weird lady in red shoes, she did not like that they arrested that guy. And these are like, what, 4 people that they had sitting in there that got arrested? It's just basically a protest arrest or whatever. But you saw how many people, and that's a big deal. If it's okay to protest about everything else in the world, then it should be okay for us to protest this. And the people in Berlin have started that. We're over at BBC News, coronavirus. Thousands protest in Germany against restrictions. 1st August 2020. Thousands of people in the German capital, Berlin, have taken part in a protest against the country's coronavirus restrictions. Demonstrators said measures including the wearing of face masks violated their rights and freedoms. Police broke up the protests, saying organizers had not respected coronavirus hygiene regulations. Germany has been less badly affected by the pandemic than some European countries, but cases are rising. On Friday, it recorded more than 900 new cases and 7 deaths. Officials say about 20,000 people attended the Berlin protest on Saturday, and we looked at that. Organizers had declared it a day of freedom from months of coronavirus restrictions. Demonstrators held up banners featuring such slogans as "Corona False Alarm" and "We are being forced to wear a muzzle." The BBC's Damien McGuinness said some participants were from the far right and some were conspiracy theorists who do not believe CV exists, but others were ordinary people who simply object to the government's approach to the pandemic. Now, I wonder what percentages that is. Probably 1%, 0.5% far right, 0.5% conspiracy theorists, and 99% normal people who are sick and tired of it. While the mood at the demonstration was peaceful, hardly anyone was wearing a face covering or observing the required social distancing, our correspondent reported. Our demand is to go back to democracy, away with these laws that have been imposed on us, away with the masks that make us slaves, one woman said. Police ordered demonstrators to disperse at the end of the afternoon. They said that they had launched legal actions against the organizers for not respecting coronavirus hygiene rules. Health Minister Jens Spahn criticized people for failing to adhere to regulations, including the 5 feet social distancing requirement. Yes, demonstrations should be allowed, even amid the pandemic, but not like this, he wrote on Twitter. Social distancing rules and hygiene requirements apply throughout the country, and people must wear face coverings in shops and on public transport. Mandatory testing has been introduced for holiday makers returning from high-risk areas. Germany has had more than 210,000 cases of CV and more than 9,000 related deaths since the pandemic began. Some 20,000 people protested anti-pandemic measures in Berlin, with many participants dismissing the CV as, quote, a false alarm. Some had to be forcibly removed by the police after the rally was stopped. The virus of freedom has reached Berlin, said one of the organizers. Others chanted, "We are the second wave," as they moved through the German capital. Police underestimated that 17,000 marched through Berlin and a total of 20,000 attended the culmination of the event. They said they could not confirm an exorbitantly large number of participants thrown around on Twitter, in a likely reference to organizers claiming 1.3 million people attended the rally. It's not just organizers. I talked to probably 5 or 6 people myself who were there, and every single one of them said there was way more than that. Quote, "Our freedom is being stolen." DW's Benjamin Alvarez reported the arrival of trucks bearing anti-masks slogans with drummers on board. Lock them up finally, with pictures of Bill Gates, Health Minister Spahn, Virologist Drosten, etc., etc. Look at this. Ain't that a beauty? Protesters in Berlin are bringing up trucks with anti-mask slogans, "Show me your smile," and "We are loud because our freedom is being stolen." What horrible far-right slogans. Some protesters carried a banner calling for the arrest of U.S. billionaire Bill Gates, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, German Health Minister Jens Spahn, and others. Of course, one of the leaders of the center-left SPD party in Germany slammed the attendees as Covidiots. Thousands of Covidiots celebrate themselves in Berlin as the second wave with no distancing, no masks, she said. They are not only jeopardizing our health, they are jeopardizing our achievements against the pandemic and the revival of the economy, education, and society. Look at these horrible people. But remember, there was only 20,000 of them, right? Right. Hours into the protest, however, plans to continue along a wide boulevard that runs through the park were shelved after a police complaint. Initially, the rally was only registered for 1,000 people. The police have just announced for the third time that they are dissolving the protest because no one is adhering to distancing rules or wearing a face mask. They asked people to leave. The protesters are chanting freedom and "We are the people," not moving anywhere. They were shouting, "We are staying here." But this person noted a counter-protest took place, with many citizens angry at those wanting to break the rules. The difference is the counter-protesters are wearing face masks and are keeping the correct social distance, whereas other protesters are not. They have been shouting, "The pandemic never happened." Oh. But why is it okay when BLM is protesting in this exact fashion? No masks, no social distancing. In fact, they're actually rioting. They're burning things down, breaking buildings. It gets the support of the entire European community, including Germany and the center-left party in Germany. But whenever people get out to protest the entire situation and they're doing it peacefully, just not to your little social distancing standards, it's a problem. They're Covidiots. This is unbelievable. And our country, we are not doing this. This is Germany, just so you know. America, the beacon of freedom, we're all in our house right now, and this is Germany. Look, you guys who know my channel know that I like to ride the fence on things, and I don't want to put any gauntlet down. But I can tell you right now, I relate to these people way more than I'm relating to anybody I'm seeing protesting in the United States for anything. This is who I'm relating to. This is how I'm feeling. I don't know how y'all are feeling, but this is how I'm feeling. Anyways, guys, I wanted to share this. Like, share, sub, get the channel out there. It helps. I love y'all. Talk to you soon. Out.